What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the CombatCast. Today, I actually want to talk about something that, has actually been in the combat sports news for 2 months now, but back then I actually didn't really look deep into it, which was actually foolish of me to do so, but now I have. I've looked into it with more, I've looked into it deeper, and I've read the details of this piece of news, and let's just say I'm really interested. So on May 9th of 2023, Beyond Kick published an article regarding the signing of Japanese kickboxer Takeru Segawa, or known simply as Takeru, signing with one championship. It made waves. It was news that made waves in the combat sports and kickboxing community, mainly because Takeru was a big star in the kickboxing circuit. He made his name competing in K-1, which, I mean, in Japan, it's a pretty big promotion, but back in the day, it was the major league of kickboxing. It was the premier kickboxing promotion. It was the place to be if you were a high-class elite kickboxer. So when Takeru signed with one championship, there were a lot of fans, clamoring for him to fight with Rodtang, who is the current one Muay Thai flyweight champion. But, Takeru is primarily a kickboxer, and by kickboxer I mean K-1 rules. He's not a Muay Thai fighter, no clinching, no elbows, all that good stuff. So I guess if the two were to ever fight, it would probably have to be under kickboxing rules. So Takeru would have the edge there. But yeah, but then I read the article with more detail. And then shortly after his signing with one championship, imagine my surprise when his first fight after signing the one contract was actually for Kickboxing Grand Prix, an affiliate of Muay Thai Grand Prix, MTGP, and he was fighting for the ISKA, International Sport Kickboxing Association, world title. He beat Bailey Sugden to win the ISKA title. Now, this is where I got a little confused, because wait, but didn't he just sign with one championship? So why is he competing for another promotion like Kickboxing Grand Prix, KGP, So I was a little confused there. But it turns out, before signing with one championship, Takeru, it's going to be difficult saying his name. Takeru had apparently signed a contract with Abema, which is a television network in Japan, for $750,000 per fight. That's a lot of money. Yeah, I can see why he fulfilled his promise he fulfilled his contract. But yeah, officially he's still a one fighter, and it appears he will fight for one championship eventually. Now, Takeru is a former K-1 champion, but according to an interview with Main Stand Thailand, one championship's representative in Thailand, Brahim, I'm going to call him that. I forgot his last name. Excuse me. Brahim, who is also the owner of Fairtex Gym, he said that K-1 is actually a direct competitor to one championship. So Takeru signing with one championship would mean him having to relinquish his K-1 title. But he, upon signing with one championship, Takeru said he wanted to challenge himself, by signing with one championship where the strongest champions gather. Okay, I'm gonna read his quote, okay? Takeru stated that he might no longer be the K-1 champion, but he competed in K-1 for almost his entire career and will compete in one as a K-1 representative. He commented, "One championship is the place where the strongest champions gather, so I want to challenge myself at one championship." He emphasized, "The biggest reason I signed with one is that the fighter I want to fight most is in one." Takeru expressed his interest in leading a Japan Against the World event at one. Okay, I admire him for, wanting to, give himself a new challenge, a change of scenery, I guess. But the issue with one Super Series, the all striking aspect of one championship, it's that particularly the flyweight and bantamweight divisions, I feel like it's those two are divisions that are tailor-made for Muay Thai fighters, okay? If you took a closer look at the one Super Series flyweight and one Super Series bantamweight divisions, you'd see that more than half of the fighters actually come from a Muay Thai background. Even the current kickboxing champions are actually Muay Thai fighters. So the one kickboxing flyweight champion currently is Superlek Yet Mu Gao. Also, when he came into one championship, he was a Muay Thai fighter. And the one bantamweight kickboxing champion, Petanong Pet Fergus, he also comes from a Muay Thai background. Granted, more recently he's been focused on kickboxing, but he's just one of the few, In the bantamweight division, off the top of my head, I can name two pure kickboxers, okay? There's Petanong Pet Fergus and Hiroki Akimoto. And the rest of the fighters are Muay Thai fighters, okay? And in the flyweight division, off the top of my head, two pure kickboxers I can think of are Daniel Puertas, the Spanish guy, and I don't know the tones, but Jidua Ibu. Yeah, those guys are two pure kickboxers. And the rest of the flyweight Super Series division is Muay Thai fighters. So I think Takeru would have a problem finding a real challenge for himself, okay? Realistically, if one championship would have to search for more 135-pound kickboxers. And I mean pure K-1 rules kickboxers, so that they can set up fights with Takeru. Because right now, the one Super Series flyweight division is chock full of Muay Thai fighters. And I guess, realistically, I can picture him fighting either Daniel Puertas or Jito Ipu. But, I don't think it would have as much hype as Rodtang. But Rodtang does have experience in kickboxing. And it would be an interesting fight to watch. A lot of fans are clamoring to see Rodtang versus Takeru. To most combat sports and kickboxing fans, I guess Rodtang versus Takeru is the second best thing to a rematch between Rodtang and Tenshin Nasukawa. So a lot of people believed that in their first matchup, and their only matchup to date for that matter, Rodtang won the fight, and that Tenshin only won because he was fighting in his home country of Japan. So hometown bias. And it's an open secret, okay? If you're fighting in foreign soil and your opponent is native to that foreign soil, you better make sure it doesn't go to a decision. Hell, even in Thailand, okay? When I watch like Muay Thai fights between a Thai fighter and a foreign fighter, hell, if it goes the distance, even if the foreign fighter has like dominated like all 3 rounds or all 5 rounds, odds are the Thai guy is gonna win if it goes to the scorecards. Like, and it's not just Thailand that does it. Come on, let's be real. Japan does it. China does it. Cambodia does it. It's every country. Let's not pretend it's not an issue like that happens only in 1 or 2 countries. Hometown bias is real, and it happens pretty much everywhere, okay? And yeah, okay, which is also why I decided to dig deeper on the article about Takeru's signing with One Championship. So Chatri decided to bring up hometown decisions during his discussion about signing Takeru, okay? This is what the article said. I'm going to read from the article. So, Chatri wasn't shy, talking about the country's hometown decisions. This is what he said. In Japan, Japanese fighters are favored in the judging. Everyone in the world knows that Rodtang beat Tenshin. Interrupting his interpreter, Chatri passionately said in Japanese, Absolutely, Rodtang beat Tenshin, but the judges were fooled. Everyone in the world knows that Japanese judges favor Japanese fighters. Yeah, Chatri, okay? You're one to talk about, like, biased judging, or just shitty judging for that matter. Before you critique other promotions or other countries' judges, you should take a good long look at One Championship judging, okay? You've had a handful of horrible judging. And these aren't like long time ago fights. These are recent fights, okay? I can name you 2 prime examples right now. Number 1, Superlek Mukao versus Elias Enahachi for the flyweight kickboxing title back in 2021. Everyone knows Superlek won the fight, but for some reason, Elias Enahachi won the fight by unanimous decision. I was so frustrated and mad when Dom Lau after he read the scorecards and announced the decision, and he said, and still. I'm sure a lot of people were. And I mean, you said it yourself. You thought Superlek won rounds 3 to 5. And you decided, you said yourself that there would be an immediate rematch. Well, that immediate rematch wasn't scheduled until 2 years later. Okay, and by then, your boy Elias Enahachi couldn't make the flyweight title limit without being dehydrated, so he decided to vacate the title and move up. So yeah, and I guess it's safe to assume that like Enahachi was like cutting so much weight, and that's why he was like gassing out so much. It was pretty evident in his first title defense against Wang Wenfeng back in November of 2019, I think. Yeah, like he was gassing out in like round 3 or 4. Yeah, and like it seemed to be an issue. And if you watched one of the One Friday fight cards, he's finally moved up to bantamweight, like where he should have fought at in the first place, instead of taking advantage, using his size advantage on smaller fighters. And I maintain that Superlek should have won that fight there should have never been an immediate rematch scheduled. An immediate rematch that was 2 years in the making. Silly. Oh, and need I say more about shitty judging? Denis Zambawanga versus So Hee Ham. Granted, it was an uneventful fight. I have no idea how the fuck So Hee Ham won by split decision. And also, it was a high-stakes match. One women's atomweight Grand Prix. We could have had Denis Zambawanga versus Sam Fairtex, but the one championship fans were denied that fight. So, yeah, Chatri, don't say anything about other promotions or other countries' judges before taking a good long look at your own judges. So shut the fuck up, you dirtbag. And yeah, and he also said, like, this moment of Takeru signing with one is the biggest moment of Japanese martial arts history. No, it's not. No, it's not. There have been much bigger moments in Japanese martial arts history, okay? Like, I don't assume to, like, speak for other combat sports fans, but I'm pretty sure big moments in Japanese martial arts histories could include, like, I don't know, every Kazushi Sakuraba victory in Pride FC, particularly his 6-round, 90-minute fight against Royce Gracie. That was a huge moment, I guess, in my opinion, anyways. And what about that Pride, the most attended event in mixed martial arts history? Please allow me to look that up quickly. Right. So, it was Pride Shockwave, okay? Back in August 28th of 2002. 91,107 people attended. That, to me, is probably the biggest moment in Japanese martial arts history. The biggest event, the most attended event. So, yeah, I hate how Chatri has to say, like, oh yeah, we are the biggest promotion in the world. We are the best promotion in the world. And yeah, and he was like, oh, and back to the judges, okay? Like, God. So he was like, this is pertaining to the judges, okay? This is Chatri Sidyatong talking about hometown judges and how they favor hometown fighters. Chatri said this: there's absolutely no such thing in one, because one is the best of the best. This is why I respect Takeru. This will make history in Japan. So Japanese fan, please cheer Takeru on. Takeru is the best pound for pound striker in Japan, and the biggest combat sports star in Japan right now. For me, I have always been interested in Takeru because we have the best fighters in the world in his weight division. Rodtang, Superlek, Jonathan Haggerty. Like, okay. It's so annoying, okay? Just like, Chatri, stop, bro. Like, okay, Rodtang is good. Yes, he's a good Muay Thai fighter. Superlek, yes, he's good too. Jonathan Haggerty, okay, no questions asked. He's probably one of the best foreign Muay Thai fighters. He's beaten Thai fighters. But stop saying best in the world, okay? Like, like, if you have to say you have the best, or you are the best at something, chances are you're probably not. Okay? Jeez. And it's crazy because, like, 4 years ago, I used to think that. I used to think one championship was the best, until I saw through his facade. Yeah. But, yeah, you know. But not long after, another announcement was also made. One championship, yeah, it may be growing and all that. At the same time, just earlier this month, on July 4th, it was announced by Beyond Kick that K-1 has been on the road to relaunching as a global promotion again. And they've invited guys like Glory, One Championship, and King of Kings, which is a Lithuania-based kickboxing promotion. And so for diehard combat sports fans, okay, K-1 from 1993 to, let's say, around 2010, the glory days of K-1. K-1 was like the Olympics of kickboxing, okay? They say the ADCC is the Olympics of submission grappling, right? Well, from 1993, excuse me, to 2010, K-1 and its World Grand Prix, which like featured a bunch of top heavyweight kickboxers, was the Olympics of kickboxing. And I kid you not, it was where legends were made. And man, it was fun. They brought us a lot of fun kickboxing matches, and like it was where legends were made. Like the first K-1, I remember, also featured a Thai fighter, Changpuk Yetsongrit. He was infamous for just showcasing and demonstrating the effectiveness of leg kicks to the American audience in his fight against Rick Rufus, who was a much larger guy. You know, he was a better boxer. You know, he knocked down Changpuk twice. But later on in the fight, Changpuk just simply cut him down using leg kicks. And yeah, that just showed the world the effectiveness of the weapons of Muay Thai, particularly the powerful kicks. But yeah, most of the K-1 champions, in its early days anyways, they consisted of European kickboxers, Dutch kickboxers particularly. But in the early World Grand Prix days, okay, you had legends like Peter Ertz, the late Andy Hughes, Ernesto Hoost, Mark Hunt, Remy Bonjasky, Semi Schilt, Alistair Overeem, and Mirko Krokop. Excuse me. Sorry, Mirko. But yeah, you had really legendary dudes. But then K-1 also, later on, eventually, K-1 later held a tournament for middleweight fighters. Middleweight in this case being 70 kilograms. American conversion over here. So yeah, they held a K-1 World Max tournament for smaller fighters. And this was where the legendary Buakaw made a name for himself. Buakaw went on to become a two-time K-1 World Max champion in 2004 and 2006. He had legendary fights against Andy Sauer, Nicky Holtzgen, just to name a few. But like, man, those were the days. I remember back in high school watching back in 2010, just watching old clips from K-1 World Max, watching Buakaw fight. And yeah, it was really entertaining. It was actually one of my earliest forays into like kickboxing, okay? But and I also remember, like, oh God, I don't know when, but like, it was when I was a teenager, I suppose. They used to air K-1, like World Grand Prix fights here in Thailand. I do not remember the channel for the love of me, but like, I remember seeing a fight between Badr Hari and Remy Bonjasky, two legendary K-1 heavyweights. Badr Hari is still in glory, still a living legend. And I remember, like, one of the fondest memories I have is like, so my sister and I took a summer vacation trip to the Netherlands, a mecca of kickboxing. And I remember we got an Uber to our Airbnb. And then our driver, a friendly guy, he just asked us where we were from. And when we said Thailand, he was like, "Oh, Thailand! Do you know?" And he starts talking about Muay Thai. And then, I was like, "Yeah, Muay Thai. And I know, I see you guys have kickboxing here in the Netherlands." And he was like, "Yeah. And then I remember specifically, like, two fighters we mentioned were Remy Bonjaski and Badr Hari. And I just remember having like a fun, lighthearted conversation about kickboxing with my Uber driver. And that's just one of the fondest memories I have before, I truly got crazy about combat sports and all that stuff. But anyways, K-1, like, while there weren't many Thai champions, in fact, in its glory days anyways, BOYA was the only K-1 champion. He was a K-1 World Max champion, like I said before. But also, during the 2004 K-1 World Grand Prix, the tournament for the heavyweights, there was a legendary moment, an iconic moment, if I may say so myself, where Kaoklai Norasing, former Muay Thai fighter, he entered the heavyweight tournament where he was like pretty much the smallest guy. He was 5'11", metric conversion over here, and apparently he weighed, how much did he weigh? I'm just gonna say 175 pounds. He was just small. Again, 175 pound metric conversion right over here. He was like the smallest dude, but again, he was also too big to go for the World Max tournament. Also, again, 5'11" and 175 pounds is pretty big, like, for a Thai fighter. So he was pretty big in the Thai circuit, but like entering like a stage like the K1 World Grand Prix, he was a small dude. And he faced Mighty Mo, who's also an MMA fighter, who was like 6'1", metric conversion, and 285 pounds, metric conversion. So he was like outweighed by like over 100 pounds. But in an iconic moment, Kaoklai just does this jumping head kick thingy, and it lands flush on Mighty Mo's head, and it actually scores him the knockout win. And it was an impressive moment, and like Thai combat sports fans who who follow combat sports around the world back in the day, they were impressed with Kaoklai Norasing and what he did. So he was a hero. And Kaoklai, he fought a lot of big guys, There was also Alexei Ignashov. There was Young-Soo Park, who early in his career, he actually fought in his Taekwondo dobok, which is basically like the Taekwondo uniform. It was so weird. It looked so funny. He wore his dobok, and he put on those K1 gloves. It looked funny. And he beat those guys. He also faced Hongman Choi, the 7'2" guy. Unfortunately, he lost by decision, but, it was impressive, this 5'11" guy facing this 7'2" giant. So Kaoklai Norasing actually earned himself the nickname Jack the Giant Slayer back in Thailand. So and right now, currently, Kaoklai Norasing is a trainer at Evolve MMA in Singapore, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's still there. I could be wrong. And right now, BOYA is doing well for himself. He's still fighting, and he has a position at Rajadamnern Stadium. So both are doing pretty well for themselves. And so apparently, back to K1. According to the article, K1 had been like performing exclusively in Japan, but then earlier in this year, it was announced that K1 World Grand Prix had bought back its international trademark, Rumors had been swirling as fans and pundits were speculating on what this could mean, but now, with the most recent news, their aim is becoming more clear. According to a report from SportAsplius.lt, K-1 is looking to do tournament events in Singapore, the Netherlands, and Lithuania. Additionally, the promotions wants to work with contemporaries in its field, such as Dutch-based Glory Kickboxing, Lithuania's King of Kings, and Singapore's One Championship, among others. The report also adds that K-1 is aiming to work with ISKA, Shootboxing, KSW, Senshi, and Rise. The winners of those qualifying tournaments are supposed to meet in the finals on New Year's Eve in Japan. So Lithuania was actually one of the premier destinations during K1's glory days, as one part of those K1 qualifying tournaments. But Singapore is a new one, would be a new one, and not to mention, Siap Ram has said before during his Main Stand Thailand interview, K1 is a direct competitor. I don't know if One Championship would be game for this. Hey, if they are, this would be awesome. I would love to see K1 make a grand stage comeback, okay? And it also said that Kazushi Sakuraba will be helping out with this whole project, okay? So the article says this. Legendary Pride FC figure Kazushi Sakuraba has been invited to assist in the organization as well. K1 is looking to add submission grappling as well as mixed martial arts bout. The UFC Hall of Fame athlete Sakuraba is penned to be at the helm of this new expansion. Sakuraba had previously worked with K1's MMA event series called Heroes, which ran from 2005 to 2008. So yeah, Kazushi Sakuraba, that's a big deal. The dude was, to me anyways, the pinnacle of Pride Fighting Championships, which back then was like a true threat to the UFC. And yeah, K1, aside from kickboxing, it also had its fair share of MMA events. And in a way, when you look at it, yeah, I guess you could say it was an early incarnation of One Championship, if you will, even though they have no ties whatsoever. But it would be so cool, okay? Kazushi Sakuraba running this show. That is awesome. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard further announcements yet. I've just, my only source is this article from Beyond Kick. But man, oh man. K1, ever since, it kind of faded into obscurity and became a Japanese promotion exclusively since in 2015. The kickboxing circuit became so saturated since then. You have promotions like Glory, which in my mind is the spiritual successor to K1. You've got One Championship, you've got N-Fusion, a Dutch promotion, you've got King of Kings, Lithuania, you've got a whole bunch of these Romanian promotions like Dynamite Fighting Show, OSS Fighters, Coliseum Tournament, just to name a few. And Russia has its own promotion, RCC Fair Fight, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, there's a lot of kickboxing promotions around the world. It's just the kickboxing market is so saturated now, there's no centralized promotion. But with K1 coming back, I think that, we can have that Olympics of kickboxing feel again, Because I'm going to be quite honest. One Championship is definitely not the premier kickboxing promotion, okay? I feel like, yeah, it has its strengths, okay? No doubt, its featherweight division, which is 155 pounds, the metric conversion right here, is probably the best 70 kilogram division in the world, okay? If one's 70 kilogram division were to face Glory's 70 kilogram division, I think one wins. But at the same time, there are glaring weaknesses in one's upper divisions, from lightweight up and upwards, okay? I feel like it's shallow from there. Like, there are no middleweight / 185 pound divisions. There's no welterweight divisions anymore. Excuse me, middleweight and one is 205 pounds. There's no middleweight / 205 pound divisions, and there's no welterweight / 185 pound division. And yeah, there's still gaps in one's kickboxing divisions. As for glory, glory from middleweight and upwards, they're doing well, but featherweight down and downwards, the same can't be said. Well, I'm Thai, and Pet Panomrung, the defending glory featherweight champion, is from Thailand, so I guess I'm a little biased there. And there's only there's only a single women's division where Tiffany Van Soest is still champion, and she's been champion for quite a while, and it's difficult to say who will dethrone her. Sarah Musadak is scheduled to face her next. She faced her last time also, and she lost, but time will tell. But I feel like kickboxing has been so splintered. It's been so splintered, the divisions. All the great fighters are like separated in these different promotions, It's not like K-1. K-1, it's hard to say because, K-1, the World Grand Prix was focused on heavyweights, okay? And then you had the K-1 World Max, which is focused on 70 kilogram fighters. And yeah, it's... but who knows? Maybe this K1, this new incarnation of the K1 Grand Prix will feature like more weight classes, and maybe they could centralize kickboxing even more. At least that's what I'm hoping. And I'm just hoping that they just focus less. Sure, add MMA and submission grappling, but make that like second, third priority. Focus on the kickboxing, because that's what they were remembered for, and that's what hopefully the fans will be there for. They want to watch the kickboxing. I would want to watch the new K1 for kickboxing too. So yeah, I guess that's what I'm hoping. But with K1 coming back, I think one's gonna be in trouble. I think they're gonna have some new competition. Like before, one has said that K1 is a direct competitor, and now that K1 is upping their game by launching a global expansion, their competition just got bigger. So I guess may the best man win is all I can say, because I love combat sports. But I guess I am secretly rooting for K1. But to be fair, like recently, it's hard for regular fans to access K1 more recently, the newer K1, shall we say, because it's based in Japan. All the media stuff is in Japan. So, and when you go look on their YouTube channel, all the videos are in Japanese. There's not really any English language content, and it's hard to access. There's that language barrier. So hopefully with the global expansion, there will be more accessibility for just fans of, shall we say, all nations. Yeah, and that's what I'm hoping for. And yeah, so I guess that's it. Is that it? Yeah, I guess that just about wraps it up. So anyways, for those of you who've managed to make it this far, please don't forget to like and subscribe to this video, to this channel. And for those of you still watching, I wish you all a good morning, good afternoon, and good evening.